What is up, Endgame community? I'm Pierre, he's Chris, and we're here to give you our biggest bust picks for Week 16. Guys, we think you should avoid. All right, so let's get things started. Chris, who's your first bust?
My first bust is a guy who busted in Week 15. I think he does it again, and that is James Conner. I know you rode him there for 4 or 5 weeks. You know, is it every week, RB1. But Chase Edmonds came back last week, and they went back to their 50-50 split. And even if you want to argue, oh, but they were losing and it was game script dependent. No, Chase Edmonds had almost exactly as many carries as James Conner as well. So they are back to this 50-50 split. Now I get it. James Conner was a touchdown machine even with Chase Edmonds. He could still always score a touchdown. But Indianapolis is a great run defense. They're much more susceptible to the pass than the run. So if he doesn't score, I think you're going to see something similar to last week again, where he gets his single-digit fantasy points, and he's nothing more than a touchdown-dependent running back for the rest of the season.
Things change quickly, right, in the NFL, and so similar to that, a guy that you feel like you should play every week, but he doesn't always have a big week, is Nick Chubb. Yeah, he had a nice game in Week 15, but who else did they have on offense? Kareem Hunt was still out. Luke Baker Mayfield didn't play. Jarvis Landry didn't play. Half their team didn't play. So now going against Green Bay, look, there's a couple things I worry about with Chubb. Might see Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, and other receivers back, so they might actually be able to throw the ball. But also the matchup. Look, going against Green Bay on the road in Lambeau Field, it's not that Green Bay has this shutdown run defense. It's they have a decent defense and they have a really good offense. And going against Cleveland, I don't think that Cleveland's going to be able to just run. There's a good chance Green Bay puts points on the board. You know, Chubb, he's always a threat to score, kind of like with Conner. He's always a threat to make that big run. But there's always a chance he doesn't have a good game, right? He gets 50-something yards. If he doesn't get in the end zone, you might be left disappointed. It's hard for me to say you absolutely have to sit Chubb, but I am definitely not expecting a big game from him. All right, who else are we fading in Week 16?
I hate to say it, but Saquon Barkley is a bust this year, and he's going to be a bust in Week 16. And if you somehow made it through Week 15 with Saquon Barkley, I'm going to say you can sit Saquon Barkley. Losing touches to Devontae Booker doesn't look 100%. And not only that, he's in an offense that gives him almost zero chances to score because they never get near the goal line. And we're probably going to see Jake Fromm making the start this week because Daniel Jones already ruled out for the rest of the season. There's no reason to look at Mike Glennon anymore. We know what Mike Glennon is. They might as well look at Jake Fromm and see what they have with him. So in an offense that gives him almost no chance to score, looking less than 100%, losing touches to Booker, no way I can trust Saquon Barkley in my lineup in the semifinals. So if you made it this far with him, it's time to put him on the bench and look elsewhere.
Yeah, when you have Jake from State Farm as your quarterback, that's not a good idea. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson. So he's been hurting, missed this past week. Probably going to play this coming week just because they said that he was closed, kind of a game time decision. So Lamar Jackson, good chance he plays. Good chance he disappoints you in fantasy. I know we want to just assume he's going to be a top 10 quarterback, but it's not the same Lamar Jackson. I mean, obviously he's getting beyond that ankle. That's going to limit his ability to run at a high level. Let's also look at the fact that against Cincinnati, the last time that he played them in Week 7, he only threw for 257 yards, 1 touchdown. He did run for 88 yards, but all told, that's not a great game fantasy-wise. And again, if he's not 100% on that ankle, may not run as much. He just hasn't been the same player, honestly, in the second half of the season. In the last 3 games before he was injured, threw for 3 touchdowns, had 6 interceptions. He's not just getting it done for whatever reason through the air. And so the ceiling is not there like we would like to see for Lamar Jackson. In this matchup, I just don't feel like you can trust him with your fantasy life. And so, again, there's few quarterbacks who have his upside, but I'm not feeling it this week. So I'm going to be very cautious about playing Lamar Jackson if I don't need to. All right, let's keep things going. Chris, give me another buzz for Week 16.
What is going on with Chase Claypool? Is he in Mike Tomlin's doghouse? It doesn't seem like he's ever on the field anymore. I know a couple weeks ago, he had that nice game against Minnesota, but if you look at his snap counts, they were very low. And then this past week against Tennessee in the fourth quarter, with the game close, he wasn't even on the field. He's standing on the sidelines with, a rain jacket on the entire quarter. It looks like he's behind James Washington. It looks like he's behind Ray McCloud. I don't know what is going on there. I know he's always capable of hitting a huge play, hitting a huge touchdown. But right now, I just don't see how you can trust this guy in your fantasy lineup. He's playing less than 50% of the snaps. He's running less than 50% of the routes. He's got to get a huge target percentage on his routes to have any fantasy value. So there's no way I can trust him in the semifinals. I don't even know who the matchup is. I don't even care. It's KC. I actually do know, but I don't care. Doesn't matter. Chase Claypool, you're on the bench. Can't be trusted in my lineups.
No, we remember the stats he put up from that Minnesota game. I think most people also remember that first down call at the very end, and maybe that's why he's in the doghouse, although Mike Tomlin seems to kind of let those things ride, but who knows. A guy who had a very nice game this last week, if you start him, is Hunter Henry. But here's the thing with Henry. As well as he did this past week with 77 yards and 2 touchdowns, let's flash back to the last time, just a couple weeks ago, they played Buffalo. What did he do? Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Okay, nothing. Now, I know you're thinking that was one of those weird games, the weather and the game plan, and they just decided they weren't going to pass the ball, right? You really think they're going to just pass the ball 3 times all game? No, not necessarily. But I also know they're not going to be very successful passing against Buffalo because Buffalo is one of the better pass defenses in the league, but especially against the tight end. They've been top 5 all season against the tight end. The last 8 weeks, 3rd fewest fantasy points per game to tight end. So I just don't think we can count on a repeat from Henry. There's probably some other guys that you can stream instead. So just be very cautious with Henry this week. All right, and then one more bust. Who you got in mind?
I'm going to give you the tight end on the other side, and that is Dawson Knox. Going up against New England, who's already extremely tough on tight end. And let's go back to that game a few weeks ago. Yeah, it was in crazy winds, but the Bills actually tried to throw the ball, unlike the Patriots in that game. Dawson Knox got 6 targets in that game. You know what his stat line was? 2 catches for 14 yards. That is not going to get it done for you in the semifinals. Even if he had caught a touchdown in that game, what is that, 8 fantasy points? 9 fantasy points? Not really what you're looking for from Dawson Knox. So I think in this matchup against New England, totally touchdown dependent with no floor in this game at all. Good luck to you if you're rolling out Dawson Knox. Hopefully he gets like 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, because that's probably what it's going to take, because he's not going to have many receptions and he's not going to have a lot of yards. So Dawson Knox, more than likely going to bust for you in week 16.
And so a lot of people are going to pick up Gabriel Davis. I did actually mention him as a strong waiver wire pickup. It doesn't mean you should play him this week. So I know, I get it, scored twice. He's gone 3 weeks in a row with a touchdown, and one of those touchdowns did come against the Patriots a couple weeks ago. But again, without that touchdown, what are you getting in this particular matchup? Because otherwise, look, he got 30 yards in 2 catches. Just so happens one of those catches was a touchdown. He can't necessarily score every single week. This is a defense, again, one of the best against the pass. You have a very low floor here with Davis. You could take a chance on him and hope he scores. But again, that's not what you're going for, especially in the fantasy playoffs. There's too much on the line to hope that a guy scores. I know he's been coming on, and he's a great pick for weeks 17, and if you happen to keep playing week 18. But I just don't feel it this week. I don't think he keeps it going. So I'm going to say don't get too excited about Gabriel Davis after last week. You might want to sit him in week 16. All right, those are our bust picks. And now we have a lot of other ways that we can help you try to set those winning lineups for fantasy. Check out the description below and find more information on how we can help you win. All right, guys, thanks for watching and good luck.